Now, going over into Hell's Heaven, not sure on what point it's going to be just yet, but it seems likely the VIRTUS.PRO are going to commit to what they were running before with this triple support. Saipei, when you have the likes of Loki and Luna Snow and stuff being banned out more, the strategist players are the ones that suffer the most, but Saipei making the Mantis work, this is something that you're going to talk about later. And for the portal play straight away is Finzi. We also do have this team up for VIRTUS.PRO to work around. The Resurrect's been bringing in for Saipei over on the Mantis, and of course 5, he's sticking to the Star-Lord. But the eliminations against VIRTUS.PRO didn't really happen all that much in their series yesterday, so hopefully Spark is looking to have a bit more of an aggressive fight, and they've dove right on top of each other. Hardest just pulling out the shotgun close quarters has enabled that first pick, and Beetle's going to be able to chase up the sort of resurrections that we're seeing from the team up, and obviously from the passive from Adam Wall.
Look for those quick pickups. We're playing on the previous patch. This is pre the buffs to the Star-Lord Blaster Barrage, as that's an aggressive movement by Ridro with the Eternal Bond for the early setup, dropping Larry low, but they're revived at the BRB. But that means that Larry, Leaf, and Hardest, and Aurasila, it's a team wipe, all get taken out with no revive.
They can take somebody down, but VIRTUS.PRO aware of this. Fi not really able to go for these like flanks, just jumping in on top as the Omega Hurricane from Leaf, trying to clear out some of these corridors.
Going in with that Omega Hurricane directly point blank onto Saipei, but Saipei is in full retreat with that Soul Rejuvenation to get out of danger. Leaf is acting as a sort of pseudo-mantis for this Punisher, but they did go off on a little bit of a split and now flank in from behind with the Lightning Strikes to keep the pressure on. They need to try and get onto that Star-Lord, but with the iframes, with the mobility, they're so hard to lock down, but they will finally get the pickup. I have Agamotto from above for the attempt at the turnaround, and that will wipe with the Maelstrom of Madness.
Oh, that turret is doing so much damage to Finzi. He can't hold on for much longer as the RP has come in. Beetle just able to whack away this, but that's a really nice ultimate. Karmic Revival not needed once at all from Sparker in their last series. Now bringing back enough to keep VIRTUS.PRO fighting on this, but Team PEPS have turned the point into their favor. The fight for VIRTUS.PRO starting with the Psionic Seduction, trying to catch people in that main choke, but there's a bit of a disengage. The Invisible Boundary allowing Larry to just sit there a little bit longer, check up past this 50% point, and get Hardest available with this final judgment.
Hardest is pushing in deep, looking for anyone, any stragglers in that hallway, picks off Finzi, and is going in even harder with that adjudication on the shotgun to try and melt through the poker dagger, but Terracate for the range reduction, so they cannot see, and Fi is just so contested in the backline, wipes that BR, that Cosmic Yard Amplifier, and Cypher just in time with their own ultimate to survive the engage of Beetle.
Oh, the fight back is actually really nice. Team PEPS eventually have to give this one up, but just trying to eke away as much percentage as they possibly can. Always nice to have for a rainy day. But it's that Omega Hurricane and something Psionic Seduction combo that might catch them out.
Beautiful lockdown onto the Adam, picking them off. Psionic Seduction, they're going to try and capitalize, trying to pull in Starter, but they escape behind the pillar. Diving in deep, and everyone took beautiful cover there, but that's a lot of defensive positions and movements, allowing for that Omega Hurricane to pull in once again, looking for the second pickup onto Adam. No resurrections as they push on in, but Hardest sniped by Fi, who is once again always on the flank. A beautiful Eye of Agamotto coming in from Vinci, almost knocked off the edge with the crystal kick, but is holding, buying time to try and keep that tick going. If their team could reinforce, that they could have maybe taken
just
that
do
over.
It the old-fashioned way with your boots and run all the way in. Fi has to try and go in for this fight, and on 80% of the Galactic Legend, he probably preferred to not have been. That Karmic Revival for Sparker is available. It's whether you can get the time and use it now. You've got the team up actually that Fi had. He was just sort of trying to buy as much time as possible so he could group up with the rest of his team. Nevix goes down, Nevix is back. Psionic Seduction, all of these ultimates from VIRTUS.PRO, 6 in total, all lapped up on top of each other. It's the first point, and we're already seeing a brawl for the ages. Galactic Legend alongside the Eye of Agamotto that actually came in from Beetle. It stuns out free, but VIRTUS.PRO, just after strategist enables the support, healing and utility to keep everybody going for now.
By using their own body to buy the time they needed for the reinforcements, trying to get behind that Guardian Barrier, but needs a little bit of burst. Omega Hurricane once again trying to track down Zapi. They get 2, they get 3, and Team PEPS, they are actually able to extend that
the chance to mention, Aura Steel has been on that Rocket Raccoon the whole time. There's no longer that team up in game alongside Punisher with the ammo overload, so it is just a bit of comfort.
As well, the Emma Frost, one of the highest damage vanguards, doing such a good job for quick blow-ups. How this works, but the Rocket, like you mentioned, it's unusual, but VIRTUS.PRO is so good at finding quick pickups, so they get the BRB. The damage boost from that Cosmic Yard Amplifier, plus the damage boost from Storm, means they can hopefully, in a team fight, maximize the amount of time that hardest is damage boost. But with that aggressive portal coming out, dive in, blast a barrage, DRP finds the double though, with that Carbon Crush locking down into Crystal Kick, and it's a huge pickup for Team PEPS, but they did lose Aura Stealer, and that's the one who can bring people back, whereas VIRTUS.PRO, they can just keep cocooning, keep fighting, but Leaf is making it so that they go down a second time, and Team PEPS claim point number 1 again.
Fight cancelling C10 in the early parts of the groups. Now he's having an absolute brilliant game thus far, and the Soul Resurgence going to be the way for VIRTUS.PRO to go in on that fight. The Carbon Crush, the CC not leading into a follow-through as of yet. But VIRTUS.PRO now with these ults, it's a 5-player Eye of Agamotto, but where's the follow-up? You have the Psionic Seduction that's going to stop Ultimate's use, but Hardest getting out that final judgment just before it allows the supports, the strategists to keep on working. The invisible boundary for Larry, but people are going down and VIRTUS.PRO looking to take the point.
Eternal bond for that fight, and now they still have that Galactic Legend, they still have Karmic Revival, and they're about 50% of the way towards that Soul Rejuvenation as DRP trying to wrap around, trying to look for someone to pick up once again onto that Star-Lord, who is uncontested up here. Never mind.
Yeah, eliminated. The BRBRPATAPIM is going to bring back DRP, the Karmic Revival is going to bring back everybody else, but the Omega Hurricane just stacked on top of it. The return trip is a very quick return back to spawn all the way. And a wipe onto VIRTUS.
Up by time, allow that catch up, 53 to 66 right now, as Fi pushing in quite deep. They're going to try and just roll them here with a fast push, with a massive blast of barrage and that extra bonus health. The Fi is starting to get a little bit isolated, would love to try and dual leap, as in comes that final judgment to push on in, but everyone is so split, the Eternal Bond is keeping everyone topped up.
So the Seduction trying to follow through, but Nevic's actually going down in the end. The Hardest, he has been a hero for this team previously. It's another massive Eye of Agamotto that's coming from Finzi, and everybody's low enough on Team PEPS that this is looking to be cleared up. So a fight changing up the point, 86% grabbed for Team PEPS as the Eldritch Monument is going to shift to the somewhat more neutral yet high ground. And a portal play for Finzi, not willing to give up any space, getting information, looking to try and go for the counter-attack against Beetle.
Wanted to interrupt that portal, the Guardian Barrier's giving a thumbs up, they get him! Preventing the portal came out just in time though, meaning that we do still allow Team PEPS to make their way onto the point of invisible boundary for that extra sustain to push on in. Second that expires though, Galactic Legend will be coming out, but that's in Fi is able to stay up as it comes a Mega Hurricane, immediate target focus, trying to take out the Storm, and they get it! That is huge! Sparker was taken out, but no Karmic Revival was available at the time anyway. It's Leaf and Sparker, the only people going down. Hardest also gonna be dropped in. Leaf swaps the Spider-Man to re-roll back in to arrive back to the point. It's overtime for VIRTUS.PRO, but Team PEPS has shown they can fight on this point for a long time. Rocket coming up to their own Cosmic Yard Amplifier to try and help deal as Leaf rolls in from behind. Beautiful punch and taking out Ridro.
The trades there from Finzi though, 99% overtime looming down, and we go to the third point. It's always VIRTUS.PRO in these cinematic take a map off of VIRTUS.PRO. They want to be the second team to maybe take a series off of them. But to be the team to first eliminate VIRTUS.PRO from a tournament, granted it's consistently connected onto 3 or 4, but down on the low ground, it is just contesting the point first. They feel that whoever's able to grab it is going to have the bigger advantage. And the final judgment coming through, not quite the same connection of the Eye of Agamotto as Finzi just flies on by. Team PEPS trying to do the same. Saipei's the only one that's caught, but the follow through off the final judgment is the key element. Psionic Seduction going to push things back as Saipei back in the battle of that team up with with Adam Warlock. And Vi, it's really an even fight. Omega Hurricane alongside this invisible boundary up on the objective, trying to pull things back in favor of PEPS. But VIRTUS.PRO is still surviving. That's the aid of the composition, and the Karmic Revival is just going to keep these bodies coming back.
Another 2 pickups, but guess what? They're already returning. Great job by Drizzler, by the way, with that Dark Force teleport to get out of danger as they're trying to capitalize. In comes Finzi to try and wrap around to look for an angle. 5 with the Blast of Mirage as Leaf is getting zoned down aggressively here. And this time, the point hasn't even been captured yet, but VIRTUS.PRO have been in control of this fight essentially from start to finish.
Now, yeah, Finzi looking to try and get another Eye of Agamotto, catching on to 3. It's more the fact that there's follow-up after these ultimates. We've seen so many good connections, but the strategist being able to keep people going.
All the pressure is now on their shoulders as DRP has decided it's time for more damage. Mantis with that Inspire to try and melt through VIRTUS.PRO to set themselves up. Omega Hurricane with damage boost, but Galactic Legend is targeting it. The healing is good. Eternal Bond is keeping everyone from VIRTUS.PRO up. Finzi, the only one to fall as Leaf gets caught in the seduction and is cleaned out. It's 2 for 1 in favor of VIRTUS.PRO as they're holding the line up to 60%. And PEPS, they're once again delaying, but they can't really just afford to just thread in one at a time. They're going to get wiped.
But what they have right now, it's even really close to being available too. Meanwhile, Team PEPS using a lot in that final fight, not quite having the same amount. Vi taken out, but he's going to be brought back with that team up with Adam Warlock. And he's able to actually get the trade over onto Leaf.
Another 2-man, 3-man, 4-man, 5-man Karmic Revival. Sparker is being the lifeblood of this team right now as VIRTUS.PRO are holding it overtime. It's time for PEPS to hit the buttons, but Hard is taken out through the final judgment. The damage output is relying on Leaf, who's on 95%, 97, but the strategists are getting dropped. There's no big ultimate to keep them up. Finzi and Nevix have fallen.
Another 2. Portal play looking to be the go-to. Galactic Legend potentially looking to be set up on Finzi, just trying to find a more cute position to start this engagement from. Unfortunately, they've lost side play beforehand, but they're going to be able to bring themselves back with the team up of Adam Warlock, I believe. So now it's just a case of trying to find a good fight here as the invisible boundary is going to try and dictate exactly where this fight is starting from.
Here comes that Omega Hurricane. We called it earlier, but Galactic Legend is already set up. They're going to try and wait it out to delay as much as possible. That's going to be a 1-for-1. Sparker is taken down, but has that cocoon to bring themselves back. There's the beautiful targeting by Vi. And game number 1, VIRTUS.PRO.
Okay, the comps that we saw yesterday weren't really tested all that much. Here they were brought out in full swing, and we're starting to see exactly why they like that Adam Warlock. Multiple people being brought back with Cam.
Ella not being banned out at all because she's so far down the list with the Soldier still being available. It's a potentially risky time. I do love seeing from VIRTUS.PRO though the ban onto the Invisible Woman. You know Leaf can play the Torch. You know Leaf can play the Storm. Both flying characters who will really benefit from that Guardian barrier, which can help keep them sustained while in the air. So taking that away is at least targeting onto Leaf.
DRP was potentially one of them, so hoping that he doesn't, you know, take a trip off the side of the map again.
You have to stop them from
Waiting to
securing
see if
the
it's a
mission
portal
area.
trap. Vi on Spider-Man here. There is that portal. Will they get the counter? Did they place it ever so offset? This is what a lot of teams do, is they'll place the portal just up to the side. They did not. Is there the counter? No counter on the portal at all, so immediately we see VIRTUS.PRO take the advantage, getting Larry with a counter from DRP, who seems later guided onto Saipei.
I think he got the Carbon Crusher over onto Saipei as well, who's going to be back. This is something that, you know, attrition is the name of the game. Maybe VIRTUS.PRO get wiped at the heat death of the universe, but that's going to take quite some time, and there's only like 4 minutes to be able to protect the point too. The DRP trying to go in, Carbon Crush seeing if he can grab onto those, but he's taken a huge amount of damage, and Finzi putting the final blow on top of it. Vi trying to chase down exactly where Leaf is going to be playing on this Human Torch, and this sort of Guardians comp went a bit out of fashion, has even taken a couple of evolvements in addition.
With the Soldier who snipe people out the air, but then you look at Star-Lord. They have pretty solid range, but their melee, they have vulnerability frames, which they can easily blow people up with, trying to eliminate the BRB. Not enough, so they have to run away from the Punisher here.
Well, we've seen this from Touzii Jur3ky before, just a super aggressive Eternal Bonds, and there's the Eye Agamotto that's coming from Beetle that's got onto 3. No force physics available for VIRTUS.PRO as it was banned now, really starting to show. And now Touzii is actually managing to turn things around, isn't on the character himself.
And therefore seeing them on this Venom is very fun. Frenzied arrival immediately into the pull, into the feast from the Abyss. They are committing, but Vi gets blown up here. Hardest who swapped onto that Star-Lord themselves gets continuously taken out, and with no Adam Warlock on the side of Team PEPS, they are not coming back and go right back to spawn.
Galactic Legend trying to cut across just as he was brought back with the Soul team up. He's able to get free. He's carving through Team PEPS like they're just a fresh croissant, honestly. VIRTUS.PRO really hot stepping their way to taking the second objective.
But they don't have the portal because they used it for the counter to try and back torch onto the Adam Warlock of their own. They're just going straight for a copy. Give us your comp, VIRTUS.PRO. We're going to try and beat you with it.
We're trying to come through. Silent Seduction in this tunnel is going to pull a lot of people from VIRTUS.PRO into a precarious spot. Do you see the Soul Resurgence used from Aura Stealer to just keep people going for the time being? The Galactic Legend is going to switch around. Hardest going onto the character himself, but it's Sparker, actually, the strategist, that's the one that's just finding...
They're just copying VIRTUS.PRO to try and match their compositional style to keep pressure on. Here comes that Galactic Legend from Vi, just dodging the sleep attempt, coming in from Aura Stealer from downtown in the air. I appreciate the ambition, but the extra healing is going to make sure that they don't get any pickups. They have to dive in once Larry's extra Eternal Bond has expired.
There's a lot of damage that he did, actually. It forced out the early ultimate of the Eternal Bond. Now Leaf for the Comet Revival goes down before he can even use it. So this fight is more the tempo that's been set up from VIRTUS.PRO as the Comet Revival's gone through. Sure, Fi gets taken out, but he's going to be brought back with the Adam Warlock ultimate. And really, it's just who's got these cooldowns available, who's VIRTUS.PRO that lead in the line on that.
By keeping the pressure onto the backline, going in with the Venom Blaster Mirage in the doorway. Nevix and Sparker get the pickup, but Vi, the damage output is working beautifully, and there's that finish line. Clean is the best way we can describe that. Wonderful.
One thing that we can say from their scrim books, if they are losing a lot of scrims, you can put it down to the fact that VIRTUS.PRO are also trying out a lot of different stuff. And the Venom alongside this comp seems to be something
quick bursts.
Got it?
Just very good to isolate some of these targets, because if you're playing this sort of, I was going to say triple support, but that is actually strategist has been moved over to be something a little bit more standard. Means that everybody has to stay relatively grouped up, or you're going to have a Venom diving on. And Leaf over on this Storm has had some inspired performances over on that first map of Hell's Heaven, and Hardest actually finding the first elimination so far on his side.
What a roll out there from Hardest on the second engagement, back with their own rejuvenating cocoon. And right now, Team PEPS, it was an aggressive rollout, but VIRTUS.PRO, they were able to back out quickly. Leaf snipes Vi, though, and that could be the opportunity for PEPS to move in if they can get the second pickup onto Cypet or Vi. Fancy will also do. There's no revives there either.
Oh wow, look at everybody just coming back. It's clean from Vi. That just, the combo is just cutting through people. And this was a side that Team PEPS took off down low on HP. It's going to be hard to take him down, and the Feast of the Abyss is available. Soul Resurgence is going to boost up the damage available if he wants to try and go for that fight. But Hardest is the one with the final dripper that's going to force things back. It's going to force out that second strategist ultimate from Touzii Jur3ky with that Eternal Bond. And in comes the Feast of the Abyss. It's going to try and look and hunt for a target, but Team PEPS all surviving, but no progression made on the point.
Larry's able to take out Cyber, but now they're very much in the backline. Here comes Vi on the flank, trying to capitalize onto that Psionic Seduction. It's going to be a triple. It might be a quad as they push on into the back of Doctor Strange with 1 minute and 47 seconds left. Sparker gets some eliminations and gets
Eye Agamotto for Beetle, less to try and block you and get in the way. And Nevix trying to jump into the backline as the Omega Hurricanes come through. Hardest again, finding first pick. It's likely to be just brought back instantly, and the trade is there. To be her back, actually, that's going to be the thing that sort of brings back Hardest too. So this fight ongoing, time being bought, a minute left on the clock, Tetcher, and PEPS pretty much need to clear the whole objective.
Psycho will be going in with that soul rejuvenation to try and capitalize. Aura Stealers, no damage bonus, but they're a player down. Beetle gets taken out, and that cosmic artifact gets wiped off the board. Here comes the damage output from Harness to try and make something happen. They got Fi, but Fi's back. They try to get onto that Emma Frost, but they can't do enough damage to finish them off thanks to the extra healing from Jur3ky. This is just VIRTUS.PRO vintage here as they hold the control with 30 seconds left. Team PEPS, they're going to try and go with the Eye of Agamotto, even though they're down members, to try and create a stagger, and that will be a full... No, it's still a cocoon onto Cypher. Spark has even got the cocoon and Karmic Revival. Everything Team PEPS is doing right now can be undone.
In a revival, Spark has been brought back by his own classic part of it, but Beetle's just going to make sure, like, sit down, son, we need to get this objective rolling along. Fine now with a Galactic Legend, taking a huge chunk out of the shield and of the body of Beetle. And even the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier can't really do all that much. VIRTUS.PRO looking to hold on out as overtime is just dipping out. VIRTUS.PRO showing the Team PEPS you might have taken a map before, you are getting absolutely
lost the series. It just happens sometimes, and they are showing that they are back on form after a little bit of an incredible start from Team PEPS. VIRTUS.PRO locked in and were able to, quite frankly, dominate that second map.
Yeah, I think one of the things about it too is, like, with Hardest, we saw right at the start, we had some...
Like I said, if you can't try and zone out the strategists, if you don't have enough of actual bad slots left to try and ban out a Vanguard, or to at least try and gain some Vanguard control, you pick one person and you say, this is a threat, let's do what we can with what we have. It's just managing resources. Yes, it's unfortunate that they didn't get those that bad. These are all heroes. They're like Jur3ky on Psylocke, an insane matchup earlier, and we do see the Frenzied Arrival trying to punish this high ground positioning. Lovely lockdown onto Sage Komodo, who does get that symbolic resilience off and is able to retreat back to their team, but with Star-Lord continuously applying the pressure.
Yeah, Saitomoto trying to copy a little bit of what Nevix was able to do before with the dive, but when you're up against the Loki, having the Loki and the Lunar Snow available for all business seems to be like, how long has it been since we've seen that? And then also the Magneto and the Emma Frost, like, these are just comps that you don't get to see anymore, so it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. We do see the copy, the God of Mischief getting that Fate of Both Worlds, and it's rolling back the months again to the Invitational Tetra, with both these teams sustaining themselves out and going for this fight.
On their favorite character here, according to their own notes, as in comes the Kraken Impact, also something familiar to the previous Invitationals and MRCs. There's Loki clones, here comes Winter Soldier.
On the Hela, the Goddess of Death is good to go, but it's trying to find a good position, and the Silent Seduction actually coming in from low 9 might be the main thing to come through. Meteor M available for 2-2. Not able to get an elimination, but it's keeping low 9 away from this point as it ticks up in favor of All Business.
All Business taking control. You mentioned it and you were correct. Low9 did win that first matchup versus All Business. All Business have yet to score a map in any series they have lost, whereas Low9 have yet to lose a series or even win a series without at least dropping and taking one map. They are such a consistent team, always taking everyone to the limit. But right now, this is a rough position to be in, but they're making the most of it. Pushing it on in, trying to chase them back, keep that Venom topped up, trying to focus onto the Magneto. Thin Clone pushing on in, looking for that Fate of Both Worlds, is in from the top rope. Silent Seduction is taken down by Jur3ky.
It's taken everything. The kitchen sink, 4 ultimates thrown in for low 9, and they still haven't quite got the point. Now they've managed.
All Business. Low 9 have claimed the point, but like you mentioned, they burned through so many resources to do it as Crysis gets sniped by the man cannon into the main and auto attacks from Knuten, who is popping off on this Magneto. It's so rare we get to see it, and they are making the most of it. Here comes the Kraken Impact from Slowpoke to try and take out these high grounds, takes out Gonski onto the Strange that was swapped in for a little bit of reinforcement, but they are being burst down. Wolver falls. Jur3ky was able to sneak away, trying to get the duel without getting picked off and sent into that final hit mode from that Kraken Impact to give a reset, and will be able to draw this out, but does eventually get taken down by Touzii.
Low 9 not looking to be able to contest at all business. It felt like they just did enough. It was crazy to say. People are going to be catching a ball and be like, wait, no, this can't be right. Like, we're seeing the Lunar Snow and the Loki both available. basically the main characters that are far away, at least over halfway for both of these strategists' ultimates to keep people up. But Znost going down first actually is a great shot from Crysis. Might turn things in favor from Low9.
Crysis is an incredible hit scan player. Has been doing so much work on the Punisher recently. Now finally being forced onto this Hela. Wolver taking a lot of damage as Fate of Both Worlds is going to be dropped by Gonski with that God of Mischief immediately backed by Closar as they're attempting to push on back Low9 to the ones playing aggressively, but that's going to allow the Meteor M to take out Crysis. Sainamono though gets closer on the backline, forcing Znost to also drop the God of Mischief.
And the fight held on so far. Aggression at a neutral stage. Somebody needs to capture the point first, but it's looking like all this is hard. But he has to be the initiator here.
It's such a rough situation to be in because, as you mentioned earlier, that Loki being in play is so good against backline dive. Crysis gets sniped by Knuten as they are trying to get onto these backlines. Loki regeneration domain can shut it down. Jur3ky and Sainamono though.
They're so good at playing at like that effective range where that splash damage can just be annoying. Silent Seduction trying to punish just how far these players from All Business are pushed up, but it's going to be used on the other side. Fate Both Worlds just coming out beforehand. You can see that there's a couple of players that have been pulled in with the commands of the Emma Frost. The Garmin Crush not going to be catching anybody, just a bit of CC. There's way too much healing on the board so far, up until All Business, and yet again it's that Vanguard lineup that finds the burst damage, finds the pick. That duo is deadly, it's irritating, it's annoying. You even have the team up that's going to come in to just add these extra clones to make things incredibly frustrating for All Business, but it's the same as the last point texture. Low9 looking to pick up things now, but there's so much progression on the side of All Business.
Loki looking for anyone out of position. They could try and go for a Soul Siphon to lock someone down here and get a pickup. Low9, they have to defend further forward here because they can't afford to give up the distance. Regeneration domain coming in a little early here as All Business are pushing up, making the most of that early defensive ability being burned.
Oh, Sainamono wanted to just dive on in. The Fate of Both Worlds forced out early, but I guess it means that if you can sustain this fight, you can catch them afterwards. The God of Mischief's out, so there's plenty more dancing to be done. Bit of a celebration, and the Dance of the Butterflies is going to be the nightcap to put this one to bed. Maybe the encore song for All Business as they're looking to pull things back into their favor. The Silent Seduction for the contest. Wolver swapping over to the Doctor Strange, so the portal play is going to be the action here. Knockbacks are going to make it a bit more precarious to jump in onto the point, but they activate overtime.
We're playing very slow there to make sure that Sainamono can return as they swap over to the Emma Frost. Goddess of Death from both sides, but the Strange is in position. Wolver giving everything they can to try and buy some time for their team, and currently Low9 Crysis finding at least a couple early pickups, trying to go for the duel onto Touzii, but they are having an extreme...
Yeah, but Slowpoke is the one that finds that first pick in this fight.
And here comes Jur3ky into the backline. They can take out Loki early, forces the regeneration domain that removes a lot of sustain. Kraken Impact was burned, found no reset. Crysis the first to go down, quickly swaps to the Star-Lord for the quick re-engage, but Jur3ky sniped by the Meteor M. But that extra Fate of Both Worlds trying to keep them up. Slowpoke will fall here. They're capitalizing. Welsh Mania pushing on in, and Low9. That overtime is ticking down while they have control. But All Business is going to try and reinforce. Crysis gets to Knuten after the fast roll out with that Star-Lord, and this is Low9 starting to recover. Fate of Both Worlds though from closer is going to delay this. There are no main strategist ultimates left available. Pinkload is the closest on 89, 91. The Galactic Legend is already charged.
Well, Crysis frozen for a second with Jur3ky. Now this is where they start to come alive, and it might be enough to get Low9 over the point. The objective is in their favor, but overtime is being held down by All Business that are doing their best to just keep going, to just keep bodies on the line. There's 2 left now, and they're being very irritating and annoying, and it might be enough for Crysis to find the clearance, and he does. Really, we're seeing the domination game score.
Crysis, the swap onto Star-Lord to reinforce quickly. Wolver with the slow jump on. It's if you touch the point within a couple seconds of the timer ending is how he
taken out. Can he still find the same success here when he doesn't have the Psylocke, when he doesn't have the torch? Well, Mischief is going to be used, but the ultimate not necessarily dedicated or just yet. Jur3ky though, with that little bit of resource added on top of him, It means that this fight is going to lead in a direction. The Eye of Agamotto catching up to 2, but the Maelstrom catching up the breakpoint, making sure that the support ultimate, the Fate of Both Worlds, isn't able to keep people alive. Wolf has done terrific work there. And Low9, Flopo has the Kraken's impact in hand, and this is a good amount of damage, really forcing out that regeneration domain early. And up on the stairs, everybody's been pulled in. The Psionic Seduction doing the Lord's work as the Meteor M finding nothing this time, however, for 2-2. Psionic Seduction going to be used on the other side, but Touzii being able to get into that Goddess of Death just beforehand. More pot shots than anything, forcing everybody into this backline, and you just saw Welshmania dive in from distance, clearing people out, and a lot of pressure and point has been put in onto Jur3ky. The dance of the ball.
Or the Fate of Both Worlds. Very quick rollout again from Low9 using the portal early here, as we already have Eye of Agamotto charged up. They do not want to give all business a second to recover. Kraken impact coming in, does not find the first reset as they try to look for anyone, but they're getting zoned out quickly into the Goddess of Death to try and burn through, but they are picked on. Beautiful focus. Eye of Agamotto, and again Wolver finds the pickup onto Touzii as they push on in with the extra healing, but with their ultimate expiring, Crysis going down. Low9 are starting to run out of sustain. They're forced to back up a little as Snos is turning this round. 2-2 is dropped low, and that Psionic Seduction is zoning Low9.
Wolver has been finding all of the connections, maybe not all of the players been stunned by Eye of Agamotto, but it's the Maelstroms, it's this burst damage that's coming through from Low9 to just really get by two of the strongest strategist ultimates to keep people going. All Business just can't seem to really
Also try and keep some pressure onto the backside. There's no Winter Soldier from Low9 to really try and lock down this Captain America with Bionic Hook or a Soldier's Fist, meaning that those backliners, that Luna, a little bit vulnerable. Fate of Both Worlds going to be forced down as Jur3ky was taken out immediately. Welshmania dropped low, but the siege on the Loki healing is keeping them topped up as they are taking a huge advantage here. Pink Logo, Godsky will Fate of Both Worlds, even though they're down 2 members, to try and delay this, to try and get some extra time, but they are taken out.
Ultimate good to go. It feels like it's a game of chicken, Tetra. Who's going to use it first?
Look out for that Eye of Agamotto. This is how we've been seeing. What a wraparound from Touzii. That might have just completely changed this game on 98% versus 91. All Business in control. Fate of Both Worlds going to be dropped. Kraken impact will not find the reset. Jur3ky looking for the turnaround, for the save with the start of the butterfly, but it's being sustained. And they interrupted the Eye of Agamotto with the crystal, with the carbon crush. And this is exactly what All Business needed as overtime is ticking down. Wolver is the one on the point. They can't portal because they're here. And they're getting zoned out, picked up, and it's quick running in. Reinforcements to try and buy every second, but All Business have control, and they will take game number 1.
Getting revenge onto L9 really highlight how good of a player this guy is. Below 9, you have to bounce back a little bit, knowing how strong All Business are at the Convergence and Convoy game modes. It's been... Hulk has been hovered over for Saint Amoto. Wolver was on the group beforehand. All Business have Wolverine available at least. But awkward. Touzii especially thinking, why always me?
Touzii though, here is a risk that Low9 have taken. They have left open the Lunar Snow, which opens up the possibility. We've been seeing it a little bit in the Americas. With
now All Business have to really start engaging this. These group walls are going to put this Emma Frost in a bit of an awkward pickle. Welshmania able to escape for the time being, and even actually gets the
Blessing. It is very strong, but they're very single target blow-ups with at least their main attack output compared to Low9, who can drop some massive AoE.
I guess one of the things as well of like Low9 not finding out Luna on the other side is that it makes it very easy for a Loki to copy it. You almost want closer to be on that character even be necessary this time around, as you got Touzii that's just leaping in as this Hulk, forcing back Slowpoke, forcing out some of these bigger cooldowns to just keep that mitigation up and alive. Sintamoto finds a pick. We do see the Supernova also used from Jur3ky. It's just trying to funnel out a little bit more. Strangled Prison not connecting onto all that much other than Closer, which again used to Fate of Both Worlds just at the end of it taken out. And now that Goddess of Death just taking these shots in, allowing Toot to just pummel down people. And whilst he goes down to Bruce Banner, the damage might be good enough to keep these resets going, as Wolfer is now on the other side finding these pigs. Texture, it's come and go for both these squads.
It's back and forth, come and go. In comes the Venom once again. Saitamoto going aggressive onto these backlines. There's only a few meters left to go. Wolverine and the Human Torch and the Punisher to just overwhelming damage, break it with this Firestorm.
Final judgment going to be used from Crysis. He has been so good at cleaning up the shop, but he hasn't really had to run into too many Lunar Ultimates on the other side, so it's a little bit of a damage boost, really. Now you've got the copy going into the Zenost as well. It just means that this fight ends up slogging on just a little bit more. Touzii, through all of the stuff, the hubbub on the point, finds the pick over on that Hela. Now Jur3ky, Supernova from behind the ambulance van. Is it going to be an ambulance for them, or at least not for me? Low9 fighting on the Omega Hurricane with that combination that we saw last time as well. The team up with the Human Torch, making this way too much damage for All Business to keep on top of. But they're dealing with the heat. They're staying inside the kitchen, and they're still holding on as overtime looms.
Saitamoto swaps to the strain for the reinforced portal. Jur3ky on the Wolverine of their own to try and clean up. Touzii was taken down. Wolver gets Slowpo, and in overtime, where Low9 seem to like to live, they're pushing on through piece by piece, trying to get onto that backline, taking out Knuten, and they're running out of members. Here comes Touzii though with a fast rollout on the Star-Lord. It's been a saving grace for so many teams that they get forced physics. They've taken out with the Windblade.
Wolver's run back as the Storm, so it is just Saitamoto solo Vanguard at the moment. He's got stunned and he's very close to an Eye of Agamotto. It's just whether he can survive this onslaught from Slowpo. Jur3ky gets the response back, and the point still hasn't quite got to the end, although it's looking pretty much a pixel away. That might be the difference from separating these two teams in this game. We got the portal now that was used and sat on the whole time. It's Touzii that's on it. He's been taken out on so many characters. He's decided to switch to a different role, but it's not enough. Low9 Crysis, he's able to get the combo in, clean up house, and finally Tetcher, they hit the checkpoint. Deary me.
The portal last.
Yeah, it's odd because you don't have that team up as well either with Hulgus. Just Touzii's just ran in on it. Maybe the sort of burst of the ultimate is going to be enough to clean up house, and with so many bodies stuck together, just a right click might be enough here. Wolver has been making the Storm work, to be fair. He finds another pick onto Welshmania, and triple ultimates now thrown in from the attacker side to just get past his main choke. You do have the Silent Seduction from Toot, but it didn't stop all that much. It's mostly that God of Mischief from Zenost that's keeping things going and actually allowing All Business to get control of the payload once again. Be a little bit more creative, and All Business want to be a little bit more coordinated. Crysis now over on the Hela himself, trying to just perch up on the high ground. Not going to be seeing Goddess of Death all too soon, but that Fate of Both Worlds, I don't know what pushed it out in the first place. You got the Iron Man pulse come through, not connecting onto much, as both these Lokis copying up onto the Lunar Ultimates. The Eye of Agamotto only catching onto one, but the follow-up is still there again from Saitamoto. Low9 put on the back foot, now starting the counter-attack. Overtime, it doesn't seem to be a concept.
Low9 are so fast at recovering. They're going to portal block the doorway to try and give themselves a reinforcement. All Business, they did not have a strange. They are just going to have to walk all the way around the outside. But every second matters. Here comes Welshmania to try and buy the extra time. Wolverine going to be diving onto the point to try and focus down onto that Groot that has been brought in from Wolver. Straggling prison. Fate of Both Worlds to try and buy time, but it's not enough. And they're still going. Low9 refuse to go quietly as well. And Welshmania, you already mentioned, on the Groot of their own, building up to that straggling prison, setting up some very nice walls to put the pressure onto Wolver and Saitamoto to zone them away from their strategist. Jur3ky drops low. Wolver able to find Toot, dance with the butterfly into the backline to try and take them out. Gets the double. The strategists are down. That's all the sustainable business, and that card is gonna keep moving.
Going, because if any cracks start to form, Jur3ky's going to turn it into a gaping chasm. It might tear All Business a new one if they're not careful now. They have all of the ultimates to sit on one. They need one clean fight as we go into overtime yet again. And there's the strangling prison crack and impact combination. It's a lot more clean. It's a lot more swift. Just clearing out Wolver's going to be it. And finally, it's looking like All Business have put a stop to this one. Gonski stalling for a little bit more. And All Business, sigh of relief, but must be thinking that could have ended a lot sooner. yeah, look at the top left. It's not even like the stats I want to see. It's just as a reminder, sorry, top right of what the bans have come in over onto Touzii.
Just kind of vibing on the point. We're seeing Toon pushing in the cart with this Emma Frost bionic hook. It does land, but behind the separate barrier, Wolver is able to pull back.
Wolver's HP is going up and down, and it's not taking Slowpoke to make the most of it. He was the one that put a pin in their defensive side with a nice clean engagement. And these resets connect him, but Saintamoto connects just a little bit harder, straight in the face, and it opens the door a little bit for Crysis. Wolver does eventually go down in this state, but Crysis now, he's able to at least play the Punisher. He's got a lot of, at least, support now. Pinclone being able to just put some...
They get back onto the cart, and they're going to take it slow, at least for now, until those triggers are full. Like stack corrected, as not going to be already dropping that God of Mischief.
Strangler Prison for Welshmania. Whether you can actually get Low 9 to sit and play together, because Jur3ky just in the backline is going to just keep things put onto close sides, whether it forces out the fate of both worlds and forces these two strategist ultimates to be hit together, because we already have the Loki using the God of Mischief. Goddess of Death is going to match on top as we see a little bit of that Asgard Wrath come through, and the fate of both worlds nicely matching in as one song ends, the other is mixed in perfectly on the side of all business to keep things going. Not stalled out on the same point that they had a problem stopping on this defense. 4 minutes on the clock to go on for point B.
Fast reactions from Zdos there, as a lot of that, the Low 9 forced to back up to the defense position, and all business have taken a very good spot at the top of the stairs. They're trying to focus their damage onto Wolver and will take them down. All business, the momentum is heavily in their favor.
Yeah, Wolver's going to have a fair few bruises on him because all business have been punching the ever-living daylights out of him. And now with Welshmania sort of mirroring on the group, he's not too far away from having a Strangling Prison yet again, and it's really enabled clean fights for them and really stopped things for Low 9 slowing down. There's still so much time on the board for all business, more so than Low 9 had when we saw them switch sides, that there's got to be a little bit of panic coming in from the defenders. The final judgment is going to try and push things back, and the point is just on the cusp of going through. There's not going to be a contest, Tetcher. They get things going, and we're on to point 3 already.
Touzii has woken up. They have suddenly decided that Helleris...
Now, just with the environment changing around, it's whether he can spot a gap. He's looking specifically for Pinclone or Gonski. Force out these strategist ultimates a little bit earlier on. Touzii trying to go for the fight, maybe pull back Jur3ky to try to peel, and it's looking like Jur3ky's going to be able to win the fight and engagement. Both going to pull out for the time being. The Psionic Seduction going to be the go button, and 4 people stunned out from all business from Saintamoto's Eye of Agamotto. That was perfect.
The Doctor Strange players, both of them, on Low 9 for 3 whole minutes.
Now it's building up. The pressure, the ultimates, the moments now, as we do see the copy, that first initial one used to bring us the first of many lunar ultimates that we'll see. Fate of multiple worlds coming through, and Jur3ky biding the time, waiting for the dance of the butterfly, seeing if he can catch a little bit of a window, especially with that Strangling Prison. That combination saved things for all business right at the end. It's found an opening, but it's not found a clear-cut fight. But things are still progressing, actually. Just under 2.5 minutes on the clock, and just under 13 meters for all business to go.
Goddess of Death into the air to try and zone him away. Gets absolutely wiped out of that so quickly. Forced to back up as Jur3ky takes out Welshmania. They're holding right at the finish line. It's so to pick up using that final judgment onto Slowpoke, preventing them from getting another reset with that Kraken impact.
There's the copy that comes in from Zenost. Ultimate going to come out shortly afterwards. There's the fate of both worlds, and actually just catch Jur3ky as he's trying to get through. Stabbed in the back by Touzii, that wants to really start to shine in this one. Had his moment, Psionic Seduction. It's going to push people back. It's going to keep things churning forward for all business. They still have 90 seconds on the clock. There's still at least a couple of fights that they can go for. And we do see the Strangling Prison used from Wolver, but it's not really mattered too much other than Toot's Wrath. Crysis even comes through with a final judgment, but he's taken out almost instantly. Low 9 can't hold on for much longer. All business make this a 2-0 progress.
We saw it, the Loki, the reason it's banned out, regeneration domain, and suddenly all of that effort was put to nothing. Wolver was focused down, and all business were able to lock in, get that card to Avengers Tower, and Herbie will have allowed them to move on and get that higher seed when we head into before anyone else.
Could be Pasiwo instead of Sentinel in its playing. Hard to know if it's just a username change or just a completely different player. Not as familiar with Insomnia like I mentioned, so who knows? But you're right, like Rad, the draft system that they've pretty much concocted and maybe even patented to an extent, looking to Warlock, both teams running triple strategist.
Coming in for a little bit more healing, whereas Rad went for a little bit more DPS on their strategist, with Melio almost being a third duelist as well as Fate, giving them that little bit of extra protection. Right now, Awesome making the most of the positioning, utilizing this top wall, the ceiling being lower on this building to just siege from above and getting themselves a pickup. Right now, Insomnia do seem to be taking at least a little bit of momentum back after Rad started off so aggressively.
Yeah. Nocta clipping the wings at the very least over on Melio, but it's the Vanguard line that actually find the picks to keep things going for Rad. Rushing up on the point in the blue, disengage, get a little bit of support coming in from the rest of his team, and then straight back in on the fight with Melio supporting.
The Rage of Ultron with the dynamic flight for the speed to chase them in, and they die.
Captain America running in. Bit of the unnamed player being thrown into a hell of a matchup, and there's the supernova that's coming through. Meteor M from the distance, bounce back actually from the Captain America, comical almost, but no eliminations either side from it. The Climate Revival, if there was people that went down, they're going to be right back, because I think both of them have come in. No, Fate is sat on his still. Trust me, is just brawling, happy to go in for the fight, and Demon gets a little bit more than what he could chew on. Bit of a mouthful as Rajaro trying to match up the Captain America head-to-head.
97, 98, 99, and 100. The portal just too short, and that is going to be Rad. Claim.
It really is just, I'm still going to call him Fate, because I think calling him Fat just sounds a little bit, like, directed, you know? Like, I know that tomorrow when his name... Yeah, just... really finding where this fight is going to start. Melio is going to start us off with the Rage of Ultron. It's not him getting the picks. You look at Rajaro over in the elimination feed, and he just is so good at finding too the freedom charge. Not
damage diving in aggressively from time to time as well on this torch. This is the control. Here comes the aggressive dive here from the cap on the side of Insomnia. Counter from Rajaro, but their team is already getting dropped down, but it of course is going to be the Adam Warlock who can return and bring back the rest of the team, which they will do. Karmic Revival onto Awesome, as we are seeing Rajaro looking for the turnaround. There's no counter here. Nocta going to try and create an opening by sieging into that hallway, but in the meantime, Trust Me is dominating this fight.
Ooh, Meteor M is crisp right onto Naga, but a trade means that this progression is still going the way of Rad. Despite them being down in numbers, Insomnia trying to maybe have a jump off the map or reset, but no, it is just Trust Me playing with fire, quite literally being on the edge of this waterfall into position. Rajaro gets another, got plenty on board to be working with ultimate-wise.
Naga pushing on in. Supernova going to be coming out from Demon, but Naga taking out Nocta, removing all of that healing. Relaxing Nice is sniped by level 1 Crook, and Naga finishes off Demon. Lurkin's going to try and delay with the Soul Rejuvenation. The damage boost has been coming in, but there's no one left to damage boost. Sentinel is down, Forever is down. It's 99, 98, 99, and 100. Yet another convincing setup for Rad. They take game number 1.
Always sort of bring up the fact of like it seems to lead towards Ultron always getting MVP. He is an artificial intelligence, and it is an artificial intelligence within Marvel Rivals that decides who gets the MVP, right? So, I mean, you can connect the dots there. Having to go through the qualifiers, Rad invited from... Actually, no, Rad went through the qualifiers as well. My mistake. I was so used to them because this is effectively that old OG roster that they would have been invited for the Invitational, but no, hasn't quite worked out that way. They have to pull up their bootstraps and come through the qualifiers themselves, but it does mean that they're able to get a lot of reps in on what this meta is, despite the fact it's changing quite a lot.
It is, as we see a very messy game of doors and crosses in this spawn door, but Demon is, that is a portal, attempting to take them off the side, but they go through the different door, not going to get caught out. As Insomnia are looking to go for the hard engage. Rajaro is starting on Jeff.
Right, the portal play, trying to set things up, and yeah, we have seen a little bit more Jeff, but it's the fact that it's Rajaro that's on it. He just seems to be going for almost gun game and the characters that he's wanting to pick up and play. That means that, trust me, is that solo Vanguard for the time being. Maybe just trying stuff out at this rate. Rad at least wanted to begin with this whole to try and throw off what Insomnia are doing, but it's not quite working. Progression with 5 players on the board, and Rad still contesting. Nobody's been eliminated. They've just had to give up the space for free and go for the re-engage. It's a great catch actually from Demon, just slipping into the sky, catching Naga out and slamming it right back down to the ground. The Beerback's going to bring some numbers back in these engagements. Rad looking a little bit more scrambled. This play with its Jeff ultimate available is not really going to be that useful, as the final judgment's going to come in with the amplifier. You've got the invisible boundary on top as it's 92% progressed for Insomnia. It's a wacky old thing that's happening, and the Agamotto's connecting one apiece, but the follow-up's not quite there. Rad losing this point in a surprising amount of time.
They built up the charge for that Jeff Nado, at least to try and catch people out of position.
I don't know anything about American football, but like throwing in the Wolverine, he's not quite connecting onto anything. The long ball actually is just at the end of it, just takes a little bit of a bounce off the ground, but Naga is not going to be too threatened by it in comparison to last time. The Demon having that last stand, looking to see if he can catch people out, and Rad is still dedicated to this. Rajaro still sat on the Jeff, and it's just allowing his whole W approach. There it is, last stand, able to catch, trust me, but it still seems to be Rad filling up the kill feed, but then you see the Camp Revival bringing everybody back in a split second. Insomnia still keeping things moving along and trucking, and Rad, surprisingly, in a bit of free fall.
We talked about it, exactly, that we need to see Insomnia try something different. They are running a team-upless less Adam Warlock. That word made sense, but it did not sound right.
Yeah.
Adam Warlock without any Mantis or Star-Lord for revives. Then they've got Rocket for revives. Then they've got the Invisible Woman for just standard support. They've got the Hop without the Namor. And then, of course, they have the Wolverine, who is being the majority of their pickups. We finally saw that Jeff Nado coming in, and that will force the push out.
No judgment. Might get things to calm down. I'd be thinking W Rash, but, you know, it is the Adam Warlock on the other side. Shout out to the championship team that's also playing under that banner as well. Relaxing Knights is the one that's clearing up. It takes Milio out as he has that final judgment. That's a big ultimate to not be available in this fight, as everything else is going to start to be used. The Eye of Agamotto from Trust Me, not really connected onto all that much yet again. And it's Forever that finds the picks. Actually, the melee approach, the whole W Demon, he's playing at pace. It's almost hard to keep up with him. And the payload is trucking along at that kind of speed too.
Wrapping around, charging to the sky with you. He got him. He's actually insane. Naga is can't keep getting away with this, Ryan.
I thought Demon was like the hit scan player, but I guess when he's been thrown in the air, he is like a bullet, just shooting down anybody from Rad, who now switching over to something that seems a little bit more within their wheelhouse that we've seen previously. Rajaro over the Magneto, trust me, going for that Venom on this part of the map, looking to see if he can set up a little bit more of this dive. Burst down any of the tags from Insomnia GG that have been surviving for a good amount. We see the Hulk being able to come back into the fight. Eye of Agamotto catching onto Rajaro whilst the Force Physics sends it blinding back. Karmic Revival to bring back a couple of the people that we lost just along the way. A Meteor Emperor Rajaro thrown into the middle of 3 different targets, square down the center, really isn't able to do all that much in the end. We can't keep our eyes off of Demon. We could just sit on this one, observers, because he is absolutely on a tear.
They got 2 pickups, but Nocta had that Karmic Revival active for just long enough to bring them back. Cosmic Yard Amplifier for the damage boost. They're pushing in to try and break Rad, to be the first team to take a series. But first, you gotta get to the end of Symbiotic Surface, get that essence of Null. He leaps in. The offer is being sent by entanglement to allow them to pull out after they nearly get caught out of position. So they have a retreat. Supernova coming in, and this time they know there's no throw available. So Naga has at least a couple seconds of freedom and is doing some great damage on the backline.
Naga up in the sky, oppressive. It's hard for anybody to look up and deal with him up until I say that. Nocta is the one that has the right click to just burn him down from the sky. Another catch in the air for level 1 Crook. Not really used to being on that side of it. And meanwhile, we see that final judgment coming in from Melio. So trust me, also going in with a Feast of the Abyss, seeing if he can clamp down on anybody to catch out these picks. But Insomnia are doing a relatively good job of just surviving. Anybody that goes down that Climate Revival now for Nocta is going to just bring them all the way back in. Rad were the ones that seem to be leading the meta side of it, but Insomnia taking a little bit of the leaf out of VIRTUS.PRO's book seem to have a really good response. The problem, however, Tetra, is so much time has been bought by Rad here. Oh my god, he keeps going!
They're actually dropping Battle Rebirth beacons closer to the fight so that Demon can get the jump packs to try and isolate people even more. But there's the wraparound. With time ticking down, 1 minute to go, Fate will burn that Eternal Bond, and they're able to burn through, and that is the unfortunate way of playing the Hulk. If you get dropped into that banner and you're the last one up, it is all about staggering, because Insomnia can't engage without the Hulk, so they're waiting and they're going to Portal so that they can move out together.
Yeah, let's see how much this Demon Eagle can do when it's been thrown up in the sky. Has that last stand available. And the Eye of Agamotto for forever, catching people on the cusp, but it has been controlled, suppressed by level 1 Crook's force physics. Eye of Agamotto is able to just get that one target, which is over onto the Invisible Woman, whilst the Meteor M slamming stuff down from the sky. Melio, yet again, with this final judgment, it feels like it's available every single fight. And now the Hulk super mode is just going haywire onto this objective as overtime is about to keep things going again for Insomnia. We see the invisible boundary thrown in over onto the point, and Century Noblin has actually found a couple of eliminations to bring Rad down to just their numbers. They're able to get to the end of the map, much like they did in the match to get us here, Tetra. But it was a grueling one in games that they've played.
Get ready.
And they tried something with the Jeff early on in that part of the map, but the reasoning behind it remains to be seen.
And break this if they can turn this round. Portal trap finds no one.
Up until now, this is about to end in a grenade. Just buying the time, seeing if they can catch anybody. Flying through the sky at the speed of light. Jumps right onto the last target as he swings past everybody. But the elimination's actually going in the direction of Naga. He's just up in the sky. Suppressive fire coming down, and whilst the Hulk is still being a bit of a pain to deal with, everybody's backed up into a room against a Human Torch. This doesn't seem like the approach, and especially when that shotgun comes out from Melio, you're going to be sent back to the spawn doors for the time being.
And this is the risk of this composition. If you don't find a pickup, you can start to get staggered.
To be really coming into his own as well now. He does have the final judgment, just sat on top of it for now, seeing if he can get some more expenditure out of Insomnia. We do see the Yarn Amplifier being used, and well, we're going to see much. I don't know how Demon is able to see much when it comes to the space and the speed that he's traveling at, but he's been so annoying. Rad is still keeping things ticking, and ultimates are plenty.
How do you play this indoors? It's just 90% ceiling, and they're still finding pickup.
Going again.
Throw, trying to get onto anyone, chasing down Rajo, but they're too fast on the Captain America. As here comes Melio. Oh, that's an unfortunate place to be, Banner. Getting absolutely taken down, trapped by the transforming Van. Karmic Revival, though, brings back the team. Lurkin will be the one to fall. Not getting revived just out of time as Demon final stand sent from downtown is enough to take out Naga, but Melio still stands tall, utilizing that extra bonus help from the freedom charge of Captain America, and they are pushing on back.
Melio just using the close quarters to his advantage, but the Be Right Backs, the Karmic Revivals, Insomnia GG are just, it's attrition, it's bodies, it's zerging the point as much as he possibly can, but it hasn't stopped Rad getting to the end with not only a good chunk of time, but more than Insomnia were able to get.
5 minutes to go, but yeah, Insomnia have a bolt to make some space. Here comes... There was a little bit of a swap, even noticing Nocta swapped onto the more here.
It was a clean engagement, but not quite bringing them down to ground. Melio using this bulwark to allow to get closer. The shotgun damage is just seeing if he can force more out. Nocta actually switching over to the Namor as the furious ones. And there's more. Grabs up Melio, that final judgment, having a bulwark to just keep him going. The pocket meta is real. Moxie is talking about this aplenty, and Melio showing that Rad, with 4 minutes on the clock, looking to keep themselves a great big time bank to work with. Nocta, however, does have the Horn of Proteus to work with, but where on earth do you put it with everything going on? You've just got this big ball of metal, the invisible boundary, and a giant whale flying across the screen, and then Demon now and again flying across the screen.
Even trying to buy time, but that Eternal Bond is buying so much time. Final Stand pushes 2 people off the point, but takes himself off the point as well. Rushing back in as quick as they can. That's going to be the Freedom Charge, giving all that bonus help and looking to try and hold them in the spawn. But positioning-wise, Insomnia do have more people on the board, locking down the camp. Relaxing Nice brought back at the Battle Rebirth Beacon, but Demon taken out by the one Crook. They're so close to the spawn. If they can just delay this. Hulk is one of the best delayers in the game. So hard to take down, but Satanopolis is taken down into that banner. That's a psionic seduction to try and zone them out to shut down any of these defensive abilities, but the shield from Mag is buying the time. Everyone is still fighting. Hulk's coming back. Lurker with the Cosmic Yard Amplifier is going to expire, and they've driven back Rad.
Hitting a little bit more. Good grief, so far these maps have been an absolute sweat fest, and there's the catch. He's trying to get on the Human Torch, just over on the vapes, I suppose, in the air, in the sky that he leaves behind. His final judgment from Melio seems to be the go-to. He is shut down emphatically now as Naga pulls out the Supernova up in the sky, brought down to ground, back down to earth from Demon, who has been the namesake. He's been ridiculous. How do Rad deal with him? He's just such a thorn in their side.
They're running out of bodies though. Down goes Banner. The cart moves in. Who is left? Who can touch this cart? It will be held. It will be delayed, but they clean out Demon. 2 meters and 50 centimeters remaining, taken out the Battle Rebirth Beacon to keep them off the point, as there's an attempted delay from Nocta on the Iron Fist. Now the rocket comes in. 1 body at a time, but it's not enough as Rad will hit the triple with 1 minute and 30 off. They are bringing out Emma Frost. They are bringing out the Penny. They're on attack, I believe, so they are probably just armoring up. The Demon on
climbing up that list, even just from today. Moving over to that Emma Frost, as the triple Vanguard seems to be something that's locked in. A bit more of a brawl on point. If Rad are not careful, they might just get ran over by this locomotive. Demon thrown in, knocked down to the low ground, and you could already see immediately the Insomnia GG putting their butts over onto the objective, saying to Rad, you've got to move us. Haven't quite got to 33% yet, which is going to be that first point, I suppose, of progression that they need to hold on to. But eliminations are coming through for them in the end.
They're pushing on in. Soulbond protected against the first initial engage. Relaxing Dice will go down. Naga takes out Nocta, but Demon and Centinoblin are pushing on in. That is likely going to be a point number 1. Portal to attempt to reinforce, but it's too late. Just going to have to let
team up anymore, so it's going to have to be a bit more moderate in how he's playing so far. But Rad, knowing that this is an important fight to win, and I guess most importantly, it's one to not lose. There comes that suppressive fire, just these flames thrown on the ground, the triangle making this an awkward wall for Insomnia to traverse around. The Demon's trying to pull people in, spots Rajara that might have overextended slightly, but he's able to disengage nicely. Melio, that final judgment, looming, waiting, seeing if he could force a little bit more out yet again, as lurking the arm amplifier, maybe giving Demon enough damage to take down Rajaro, and now there's no more waiting. They don't want to get any further. They want to shut this down now to Rad, but this final judgment, even with the help of the invisible boundary, not catching too much up until Nocta's taken out. The BRBRPAT's brought back Nocta. He has the counter revival, so things can keep on going as this momentum for Insomnia, they're used to playing on it on this part of the map, might be enough to tinker things onto point B.
The problem is they have this Wolverine, they have this Strange, they have Emma. Some of them will sometimes fight off the point, and they are trickling down their overtime. The card is creeping forward slowly but steadily as Trust Me has taken on the rear flank, getting a lot of damage onto these backliners. Aya Magamoto sent deep into the backline. Force Finish pushes them off the point, but they need to make sure someone's there trying to block out Melio from that shotgun as they push on in Demon, going aggro, but they are cleaned up, and that is going to be a hold. One extra point, 127 meters.
Not bad, amazing to watch. We sort of expected it to be a little bit more like this on Domination, right, Tetra? Of just these two teams rolling it out, long overtimes to separate the two teams. But I think it has been a difference. The DEAMONN might have a Horn of Proteus before anybody else is really able to get going. Unfortunately, I spoke too soon. He's eliminated. The BRBRPAT is going to bring him into the fold yet again. And Crook taken down by the counterpart over on Invisible Woman.
Naga being able to wrap around, playing inside a little bit to make sure that they have some defense. Gets caught out, chased down, and that's what we need to see. Second that Iron Bulwark's down, Demon needs to come flying in. Lovely force physics, and they're holding a little longer. Ryan, they're starting to believe it's
not fighting on the point, but there's enough of a contest there. I'm not too sure who's really playing on this point right now to try to keep things going. It must be one of the vanguards. Relaxing Knight is taking a huge chunk of damage though. Sentinel sent back down to Bruce Banner form, brought back, so the Hulk is going to just keep resetting things going. And now Rajaro fighting on the objective with that freedom charge. Still, the point is not ticking up, and Insomnia just are immovable from the looks of it. Supernova from Naga has to be dedicated to just be the difference maker. Meteor M sent onto Bruce Banner as he's being reset down to the lower form, and now Rad with 20 seconds left. I'm not going to have any more allocated time if they take this overtime to keep things going, and just in time too.
Namor have a little bit more trouble with, because Namor can deal with the squishier divers because the squids will focus them down, but Cap is a bit too tanky and much harder to deal with. Demon finds Melio, forced try and save the day. Iron Bulwark, all of the resources being bundled to Melio, and they sustain through, dropping Final Judgment for the turnaround, and they are punishing Insomnia. Overtime is being held. The Eternal Bond, the finish line is within sight, and Rad are creeping towards it.
There's maybe another fight in it for Insomnia, and I think one thing that the Wolverine has been doing well has just been causing a little bit more chaos. It's like everybody has a plan until they're punched in the face, or everybody has a plan until they have a Wolverine diving at them from 400 miles an hour in the sky. But Rad are very good at taking these fights. They're not really that well phased, and you have Naga jump to the air, the double jump, the double catch on him. He's still able to survive, mostly because of Trust Me's bulwarks that have kept things alive in favor of Rad. The payload stopping for the time being, and overtime is starting to dwindle down a good amount, a treacherous amount for Rad. It's now pretty much on the precipice. Insomnia just seeing if they can pull somebody off, and when your main damage dealer, the Duelist of Naga's up in the sky, it's one less body to get things going. A portal required. Look how close the overtime is at the top of the screen. It's down to a little flicker of hope for Insomnia, and that payload still needs to move a good 10 meters. That's the pick. That might be a force of a reset. Lurker not having the BRBRPAT is going to keep things just right on the precipice. Tetris is going all of the distance. It's down to a wire of 4 meters, and Rad pushed to the end, catching Forever out. It's just enough. Rad take this series 2-0, but you cannot say that this was a close one.
Sure, they could get some knockbacks into their own team to set up some of those eliminations. This is what happens when bags are slipped through the ban phase. No, this is why we did see Insomnia ban out the Emma Frost as opposed to the bag, because
we're doing, let's see if we can sort of take something similar. But parts of them are like, huh, what? Like, we're doing our own thing. And it's whether that own thing is going to be actually good enough to beat a Zero Tenacity team like this.
Very interesting. We're going to be seeing Zero Tenacity looking at this classic version of the Guardians composition with Luna.
In the grand finals of their group over on Sunday. But Zero Tenacity, they've done a really good job at shutting people like me up and really breaking a lot of pick'ems.
They deserve it, and they are bringing a more interesting composition, realizing they're going to go up against this Cap and this Psylocke. They have brought the thing to try and lock them down and stop these hypermobile characters from moving as much.
I mean, he's a very good character. What he does is just so many people seem to move away from him after the Invitational. So he's going to take a bit of a slog, but that seems to just suit him just fine. And he keeps adding to my list of favorite players to watch because of stuff like this. You do also have like some more support help with the triple strategist lineup. So you've got the real sustenance to keep yourself going. But it's not going to stop Tanuki finding that first pick over onto Lugia. Just as the Soul Resurgence comes in from Oasis, it's not going to matter. Ken actually decides to switch over and just left click down on the cloak to cut things through. And BRBRPATAPIM did a bit more of a grueling fight. It's taken a good amount of time. They managed to get the reset over. Let's see if what happens with this thing dedication. Clobbering time close. I mean, yeah, definitely if you're Pokey, he's had to pull out the Dance of the Butterfly. Look at his HP. He is pretty much on a pixel, a sliver of health, and Tanuki uses that as a chance of a counterattack. It's almost like Zero Tenacity got pulled into the fight to hunt down Pokey as he escapes, and it opens up the door for Tanuki to set the kitchen right on fire.
What a stagger we're about to see, Mantis. They're literally just keeping them here for as long as possible to go for the stacks. They know.
And it picks up BRBRPATAPIM, and they feel like they haven't really gone down all that much in these engagements. They've just been too long. They've been too frustrating. And you do have like the Eternal Bonds ready to go. Alex is going to be the one that starts it up first. Ken has got the copy available with his ultimate. It's just waiting for probably to grab another Cloak and Dagger to get the Eternal Bond up yet again. This Galactic Legend from Smashness not finding any real discernible damage. And Enzo's actually the one that gets caught out. The Psionic Seduction pulling him out into the open to just be focused in down. Polly running in onto the site, brawling as much as he can, forward, backwards, trying to see what direction this fight wants to be taken in for BRBRPATAPIM, as they've made the point at least to a 99% progression. They're finding that first elimination there too, but there's people being brought back. Knuten actually goes down. The camera revival was available, but it's just too awkward of an engagement. BRBRPATAPIM diving in, poking and prodding with Pokey makes this a very clean 100% to 0.
Storm, with that Human Torch has been released, they have been rolling it and doing so much work. And as such, even though we did see the attempt from Smashness to try and track them down with that Star-Lord,
that could maybe bite them in the backside if they're not careful. The Soul Resurgence found for Oasis. You have got the Comet Revival. Smashness has gone down. Knuten's going to bring it down now, seeing if Lugia is actually going to move over to the Wolverine. So some of these Resurrects are going to keep this fight going for Zero Tenacity. But that is a superb Eye of Agamotto from Enzo. It catches onto 4. But a Karmic Revival, even just the combinations actually that are coming from the team up, are just bringing back these Guardians into this engagement. Knuten back twice after going down twice, finds a pick to make this a bit more of a slog. BRBRPATAPIM forced to make this a little bit more grueling. They do have the copy coming in from the God of Mischief from Ken. They also have that Freedom Charge to sit on. I don't think it's going to be needed here, Tetcher. They managed to grab.
Zero Tenacity zoned away. They went back to the well.
He gets multiple targets, so he's trying to catch people right on the radius. You like this aggression that's coming in from Smashness, and it's really making BRBRPATAPIM have to readjust where they're playing from. A last stand was used from Lugia, but Tanuki's not going to let him go out without a fight. There's a Dance of the Butterfly finding the backline. That duo that hasn't died at all so far, I think, this map. Trying to get taken out together. That might be enough space for Zero Tenacity to work with, but Pokey's got something to say about that too. He takes out Knuten, has the Karmic Revival again. BRBRPATAPIM just finding the right targets at the right time.
Zero Tenacity are winning this fight, but like you said, BRBRPATAPIM are picking off people to the point where they're delaying this for so long. All that delay that we saw from Polly has allowed Ken to respawn, get an ultimate off, and keep the team topped up as the second Eternal Bond comes in. Two in the same fight as they push on in. Terra came to drop some extra damage, allowing for Supernova right in the doorway to take down Ducky, and Zero Tenacity are starting to run low. Carbon Revival's going to be coming back to give them that extra reinforcement. Smashness is revived and immediately picked off for a second time.
Oh my god. It's just right on top of the Karmic Revival. You come back in, it's from the frying pan into the fire, quite literally from Tanuki. It's every time Zero Tenacity look like they're going to have a bit of a response, he shuts them down, puts out that flame, and BRBRPATAPIM
as effectively as Polly. Polly believed in this even when a lot of other teams didn't, and they delayed, only getting taken down once, getting 6 final hits, banning out that Human Torch, or at least targeting one of these options, and Tanuki is currently hovering Iron Fist. Don't know if that will make it out of base. But what we did see is them get their hands on that Lunar Snow, because it was let through. BRBRPATAPIM were focusing more on banning out the standards and picking what they like. So they had the Lunar Snow. That puts the risk of the Psylocke Captain America backline dive combo significantly higher. Now, while Venom
especially taking majority of the playtime, and Tanuki now over on the Star-Lord, taking a lot of fire and being pulled off of the map. Lugia actually eliminated just as he was about to throw them into the abyss. Means that they actually don't go down at all. Knuten forced to fly back, reset, lick his wounds a little bit. And Pokey just carving on through, building up to 3%.
At the ready, but Pokey has been so aggressive on the flank. Here comes Wolverine, has to back out of there, very nearly getting caught out of position. And we'll use that Emma Frost team up to create a little clone for at least some damage mitigation.
It's the longest day of the year tomorrow, but these have all been pretty short series so has dwindled. The positive side is you have 4 ultimates, you almost have all 6. The negative, BRBRPATAPIM almost have all 6 too.
Unibebe doing good damage. You can't block you can't deflect lasers, but you can block them. Cap trying to hold some time, and Pokey is on the flank. We will see Polly actually getting taken out. Lugia showing the power of this extra Wolverine instead of the second Vanguard with just lockdown potential. But you can't lock down that diamond form Emma Frost, but it will expire. Blast the Barrage. Fade of both worlds from the Lunar Snow that was allowed through, immediately being matched by the Eternal Bond to try and turn this round. Silent Seduction, but the healing output is so good from BRBRPATAPIM. They're not able to turn this round, but the second those big strategist ultimates have expired, it's time for Zero Tenacity to hit the go button. Rage of Ultra to start up. They want to force out this invisible boundary from Ken to open up. Invisible Ball's cannon round the corner, but it's blocked off.
BRBRPATAPIM not had to use anything really. They've held on to pretty much everything other that Eternal Bond that comes through. Zero Tenacity wanted to use it on the attack. Now that they've got some momentum, Tanuki is the one to silence things potentially. There's Polly coming in with a freedom charge. You've got the Dance of the Butterflies from Pokey alongside trying to catch Zero Tenacity as they're disengaging from this fight. Polly and Pokey, the two new
Tanuki out there to try and stop Pokey from getting away after they set themselves up. One Bionic Hook or Soldier's Fist could be game-changing, but no ultimate. There won't be one for a while. Sonic Seduction from Enzo to try and set up with 10 seconds remaining if they can get some pickups early. Oh, especially onto Lugia, dropping them low off the side to try and take some cover. Lockdown. Oasis will be the one to fall. Lugia picked up on the flank as Tanuki is living up to the legend, the galactic legend, as they clean on up. No one's up here, no one's spawning, and that will be a hold very short here by the side of BRBRPATAPIM. That is going to be Storm and the Squirrel Girl and Moon Knight are the big breakers of these main setups. But the fact is, Tanuki, they were one of the most legendary
really up into their favor. Getting past this bridge this quickly has to be concerning for Z10.
Keep an eye on Pokey. If they get hit by that force fit by that extra lockdown from the Psionic Vortex or by that tainted voltage of Knuten. This is when you'll see the opening. This Jeff continuing to keep the team topped up. The healing output from New Jeff is extremely effective here. Polly finds Ducky and Oasis. The card is moving forward. That's gonna be a Terracade to try and burst through Polly, but with that Mind's Aegis, they survive a little bit longer, but will get taken out by Knuten, who finds the double. They're capitalizing. Smash Nez has not been targeted at all here and is getting some great damage on this backline.
And so, still dedicating over to the Punisher. Controller player, by the way. I mean, if you're running close proximity with the shotgun, it's not going to matter too much. You're looking at some of the push power, the Soul Resurgence over for Ken, but also this Omega Hurricane for Pokey. The final judgment's going to be used first, actually. I thought that might have been held on to for a little bit more, but he's still able to get the picks. Enzo, we've highlighted the likes of Tanuki. Well, he's brought out the Hurricane, but it's a Horn of Proteus that sends them both back into spawn.
Smash Nez may have just saved their team this game with that Horn of Proteus. The Namor trying to deal with the Emma, who's the only one left on the point with 2 minutes to go.
It's going from Lucia over on Hulk, looking to try and brawl a little bit more. Just have the ultimate to just survive if this engagement gets a little bit delayed. Tanuki actually pulling out this fight a little bit deeper, and Enzo switching over towards the Emma Frost, caught out by the Hulk. And it's looking like this is going to be a bit of an awkward reset from BRBRPATAPIM. It's a bit of a mixed numbers. Never mind, actually, Polly, Pokey, and Ken finding picks as we're sort of seeing on the right-hand side. Might have enough about them, but they have to reclaim this payload and move things along again.
Luigi is going to delay by as much time as they can. Enzo coming in with the portal to try and make sure that they can reinforce and get onto this finish line. Here comes the Captain America with the Freedom Charge to give them a little bit of extra bonus health for some healing and try and rush onto these strategists. They come in for the reinforcement. So much pressure. The point is right there. Portals from both sides. Monster Hulk with Hulk Smash. Tanuki trying to avoid it, but Smash Nez is continuing to be the saving grace for this side on this Namor exactly when it's needed. But Dance of the Butterflies is cleaning up. They finally find the wraparound, trying to get onto Smash Nez, taking him down, and that is GG with 20 seconds remaining. BRBRPATAPIM
Just proving that they deserve to be in the discussion. And it's an overall team performance, and this team is so comfortable with one another. They're able to blur the lines between the roles that they're playing, right? We saw Enzo for the majority of that playing over on the Punisher, and honestly being enough of a threat to be reckoned with.
Down into that playoff bracket, they are locked in with their position. Insomnia versus VIRTUS.PRO, the next litmus test.
Gaming versus VIRTUS.PRO. Their first one especially, a grudge match of a rematch, I would say, and honestly, I think all business are coming into